Okay. Yeah, dear friends, I want to welcome you to another episode of Open Conversations. And this episode is the Father's Day edition. And I'm here with my beautiful wife, Lola. And today we are going to be looking at um, the true father. The true father. And we'll look at God's love to us, how He is the perfect picture of who a father is, and then we'll be answering some questions. So I'm sure Lola is ready. Lola, happy Sunday to you.
Same here, and I wish you happy Father's Day.
Thank you. I'm blushing. Thank you for the gifts, and that they are very thoughtful. And I pray that your love for me keeps growing, and that I will also be the father, a model father that you cherish.
Amen.
So thank you so much. All right. So when we look at fatherhood, like what comes to mind? What comes to mind? For me, when I say father, like because I know the meaning of father, like the word comes from the word Abba. It's the same word Abba. Abba means father, right? And it means the source. So uh, from where something comes from. And the only picture that stands tall in my mind is God, because I mean, it's where from Him, all of us we come from Him, right? So, but when we look at it, like when we mirror it to earthly conversations, day-to-day living, everything, like what really comes to mind when you hear father?
Uh, aside, um, aside relating fatherhood to God, who is our Father, yeah. I can also relate it to someone you look up to, yeah, a father, like
An
someone,
example,
yeah,
a
a
model.
model, a mentor, a model, yeah, yeah,
Okay.
someone you look up to,
To
like, oh, my father, yeah, that's it for me.
okay. I like where you're taking it to. So a model.
Mm-hmm.
So if we talk about something being a model now, it means that uh, a product that every other product must look like.
Yes,
A product that sets the standard for every other thing.
set
Okay.
the pace.
So
Yes.
let's look at it. What are the uh, standards that you think God has set for us? As a fact, I'm sorry I'm asking you, right? I know that maybe subsequent programs will actually bring fathers to have this conversation, right? But I also know that the mother, the father, to me, we all know our roles, we know we share roles, we do all those things, right? So anyone can talk about it, right? So when you look at it, what are those standards that you think God has set for us as a father?
For me, uh, God is love.
Okay,
So,
so
His
love.
love to us is a standard like we are all praying to meet up with. Uh, he gave His only begotten Son to us. So, God's kind of love is one major thing to look up to, because we know that when there's love in this world, like things becomes easy. I cannot say money makes the world go round. So love to me, it's what's emulating about love, about God, is what's looking up to as, and God's kind of is still in the act of His love, His ways of correction.
Okay, discipline.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So His ways of correcting us, it's also it's worthy of emulation.
Hmm.
Yeah, because as like I said, fathers, bringing it to earthly fathers now, as much as you love your children, you should also
Discipline them,
discipline them.
like
Yeah, there should be
in fact
measures
the
to
scripture in
discipline
fact the
them.
scripture even backs it up by
Mm-hmm.
saying that
He who
that
loves.
a child that the father loves he corrects.
Exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
so correction and discipline
This,
here,
yeah,
like we can't separate them, like
exactly. It's still embedded in that love, because you're like seeing something wrong. You don't want the person to endanger his or her life or go astray. So you have to correct in love and discipline. So, and also I would like to say, God's still in His love also. Like the love is just like a bigger umbrella that
encompasses
passes everything.
everything.
Yeah,
All right. So
God's provision also.
provision.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Okay.
He
So
said he
Lola,
shall supply all our needs. Yeah.
let me take it from this angle.
Okay.
So you mentioned love, you
Mm-hmm.
mentioned discipline and correction,
Mm-hmm.
and then you mentioned provision. Now let's that's God.
Mm-hmm.
That's God's standard, right? In fact, God proved that He loves us. He made a provision for His Son to die.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. In fact, Romans 8 was talking about it. What shall separate us from the love of Christ?
Mm-hmm.
It's, at some point, he was even talking about. He says, "He that spared not his only son," he said, "but he gave him for us all." He said,
Mm-hmm.
"How shall he then not freely give us of all things?"
Things.
Okay. So then, I want us to look at it from this and not let's let's take God now. We can't take God out of the picture, but
Yeah.
let's put God here.
Okay.
Let's put me as a husband and a father.
All right.
So you're lady, you're a mother, you are a mentor to many and everything. So in conversations you hold with ladies, young women and everything, like, can you give us an example of like what are the expectations of an average woman out there in terms of who a father should be or who a husband should be? Because I kind of think that it's going to help us as men also to know where to put all our effort. Some men, they just believe that it's all about provision.
Okay.
Just make it available, and then at times you are not present in any other thing except when money they are talking about. In fact, some children now know that, oh, when you need money, just call daddy. Okay, that's all. Every other thing revolves around the mom. But
Yeah.
you as dad, they only get to call you when they need money or they want to, or somebody is bullying
Money.
them at school or something.
Money majorly.
Or money maker. So I want you to give us like,
Okay.
what do you think, like in your discussions with young
Expectations with
women,
other women.
ladies and everything, like what is their average expectation of who a father is or who a husband should be?
Okay. It's two different things. Who a husband should be and who a father is. But being Father's Day, I will focus more on who
A father, yeah,
because
yeah.
if we are to deep down into who a husband
You know why I
expectation,
lumped it together? Because to me they are inseparable, really. You
kind
cannot be
of
a good father without
without.
being a good
Yeah,
husband.
I understand, but I'm just saying. Being a father, let's just talk about that for today.
Okay, good.
The list might be endless for expectations women have concerning their husbands. Yeah.
Okay.
So, but being a father, definitely, if you are a good father, then you tend towards being a good
Good
husband.
husband. I
So,
agree.
yeah. So let's talk about and like you brought these innocent kids into the world. So
Mm.
at least two. Let's just stick to being their
Father.
loving father. Yeah.
Okay, good.
So, as a father, for me, talking about fatherly roles, I really don't like to differentiate things like mothers should do this, fathers should do it, except some natural things that are centralized with a gender. Let's say I can't say okay because I don't want to say this is gender based. My husband should get pregnant or he should breastfeed the child. No. So definitely that's a woman thing. So, but talking about even in pregnancy, childbearing, as much as you are not carrying it, you are not the one into it, like at the center of it, you should be involved. And how
Involvement.
can you be 100% involved in that? Is your presence, total care and attention. Yeah, paying attention to details, loving, showing empathy, kindness. So let's now focus on fatherhood. You have a kid, you have one or numerous ones. The child does not only want to know someone, he wants to have options rather. Wants to say, okay, daddy, and also be able to call mommy. The child wants to cuddle with father, wants to cuddle with the mother. The child wants to request something from the father and also have the opportunity to request something from the mother. So being present, the typical man's idea is I just need to go out there and make the money. Just bring the paycheck. Just bring the pay. And in doing that, in getting so much involved in search of money, you get to lose your time.
Okay.
You don't have the time for the children, even for the wife. But let's focus on the children now. You are absent from their life. So when you go out, let's say you take 2 3 jobs, or you go several hours, and when you return, definitely human, you need rest. So when you come home and the child has been with the mother, disturbing, playing, having fun, and now he's seeing a new face. Oh, I have options. Oh, I need to play with someone else. And you're like, oh, no, 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 I can't do this. I need to sleep. I need to eat. I need to shower. I need to. So you are not being present. You are only dropping the money. And to make the matter worse, even the money, sometimes the children doesn't even know where it's coming from. Because okay, let's say you go out to work and you bring 1 million or $1,000, you are not even available to go for shopping. So you are definitely just dropping the money and still giving the mother the privilege to act as if she's the one bringing the
Okay,
money.
okay. So Lola, let's not. Yeah, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're saying in essence is
Being
that
present,
being present is more. You think
more
the average
valuable.
woman
Mm-hmm.
wants their dads,
Their husband,
their
yeah,
husbands
yeah,
to be present
for their,
more
yeah, for
rather
their
than.
children.
Well, I don't know whether that can be proven statistically,
It is
but you're talking from your conversations
with other
with
people.
other people
And I,
and
I
everything.
really understand that it's kind of difficult and tricky, because you want to make the money,
Yeah,
you want to be present, and not just like a statue. Yeah, being involved
it's key.
is key,
So
because so
now
many,
you are
so
moving from being present to,
yeah,
because you can be
involvement.
present and
And
not be
thank
involved.
you. Yeah, so many fathers
Okay,
are in the house.
you are in the
they
house,
they
but
lock themselves up in their office, or they are stick to the TV, a
yeah.
gaming center, on their phones. No.
So presence and involvement
Yes,
is what
it's
is the
two
is a
different
deal
things.
here.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. So I have a question
Okay.
that I want to ask. Okay, so who should be too busy between the man and the woman? Like who should be busy? Like who should be too busy?
Yeah.
Because we have to bring a balance.
Mm-hmm.
The home needs finance, the home needs love, the home also needs spiritual leadership.
Mm-hmm.
These three things I think are very key and very important
I
for a
agree.
very balanced home, right?
Yes.
So now, let's talk about it. We are in a very in a kind of a rush hour time where I don't know who designed this system, and all of us we are all rushing after our cut of the pay of the entire paycheck. Okay, so everybody is looking at solving bills, paying bills, solving this problem, and you need money to do all
I
that, right?
get it. Yeah.
But the balance here is that since we established that the family cannot run without money,
Mm-hmm.
so I want to ask you now, who do you think should be busy between the man and the woman?
For me, uh, I won't shift towards the side and say it's the father or it's the mother, and that is where balancing comes in.
Okay, you think it should be balanced?
Yes. If I say the father should be busier, then you are definitely not present, and that is what we are saying, and that's one of the things happening nowadays. Absent fathers. That is where it comes in. And if I say the mothers also, there are some natural things that only the mothers can also do for the children. So that is where a balance needs to come in. Sometimes we just think, oh, it's not possible. It's very, very possible. It's whatsoever thing we put our mind to. Okay, in a whole day, there are periods where you are pressed and you find time to use the washroom, and there are periods where you can't even control yourself. You just have to close your eyes and take a nap. So that is how I just see it. The father and the mother should strike a balance.
Okay, so you're going for balance. Okay,
Yes.
you're going for balance. If you want to look at it in the perspective of men who tilt towards, oh, I'm the man, I should be the provider. For instance, we gave an example that God is the true picture, right?
Mm-hmm.
God, in fact, when you read Ephesians 6, when Paul was giving commands as regards the husband, he says, husband, do what? Okay, the command for the husband is to love, right? And we have established that in loving your wives, what you do is you provide for your family, you stand in gap, you lead them, you give them direction, we give them spiritual priesthood and
Covering.
everything, that covering and everything. Okay, and it told the women, they said, women, respect, honor, okay,
Submit.
submit, okay. Those are the commands. So if we mirror it that way, it would look as if the responsibility of provision rests solely on a man. But the balance here that we are trying to strike is that we are in a different kind of a system, in a system where it's almost like, um, if you are not running, if you are not running together your share of it disappears
Mm-hmm.
quickly. So and then we are even in a system where now I even see more women getting, I mean, you see women getting jobs, that six-figure
High
jobs,
paying jobs,
high
yes.
paying jobs, and you see some men, they are just reduced to
Many
just
jobs.
doing all these.
Many
I
jobs,
just
yeah.
I can just find it anywhere, you
Mm-hmm.
know. But you find out that women are getting much more, they are getting much more successful, career wise and everything. So at this point we need to strike a balance, because if it is the woman, for me, this is how I see it, if it is the woman who has the opportunity to earn more, okay, to earn
She's
more
making the provision
and
already.
bring more to the home, I would say, okay, let's have a balance where the husband is more present, okay, to relieve, to fill that void that will be created, okay. And if it's the man also, so that conversation needs to be very balanced. So for me, the answer to that question is actually, I support
Strike a
you.
balance,
It
yeah.
has to be by balance. There must be a balance in these things, okay.
And above all, we should also always understand of this thing that we brought these children to this world,
Yeah,
and
you're
we
responsible
are
for them.
exactly, we are
You will be
responsible for them,
accountable for them,
for them. So
okay.
we should not even always say. And to make the matter worse, at some certain stage in children's life, they don't know what money is.
They don't. You're
If
just
you
going
like
to
stay in a room, if you like
stay
you are
in
eating
an
something,
entire mansion.
if you like
They
stay in
will
a
forget
mansion,
those
if
things.
you like, so memories and being
Yeah.
present and other things, especially in their developmental age, and you can always get money anytime. You can
Okay.
always chase
Okay.
things. Yeah.
So I'm not throwing away money, guys. Money is very important in running your home.
But
The family need
it's not the
finance,
priority. It's not as
okay.
important
But
as
we
being
should
present.
not.
Yeah.
What we are trying to say is that
We should not
let's not throw
idolize
away
money.
our family values, our time together, the love you need to show your kids and your wife. Don't throw it away because we are chasing money. Let's strike a
A
balance
balance.
between it. Okay, as we're planning to round up, I want to say this. Okay, so I was having a conversation with a friend,
Okay.
and we started talking about how there is this prevalence of, oh, single motherhood,
Mm-hmm.
okay. And the person was like, he kind of thinks that that's why we are seeing kids with different problems. In fact, mental health issues, kids having developmental issues, I mean, like, and he was like, he thinks government should do something about it. And I'm like, is government the right person to actually solve that problem? So I want it's Father's Day, right?
Yes.
So I think is the kind of a very good um, time for us to talk about it. So who do you think should solve this problem? Is it the church? Is it the government? Is it the family? Okay. Who do you think this responsibility falls on?
Okay. I will say the church. Yeah, the church. Why I'm saying the church is because everything comes from God. We didn't just create ourselves in this world. And when God created us, He made us male and female. And God's purpose of marriage is for togetherness, and that is why He made us male and
Mm,
female.
okay.
Single motherhood, so many people find themselves in that
Yeah.
position.
And
Yeah.
this is not to cast aspersion. This is
No.
not to judge anybody. In fact, there are people who wish they are in their marriages, but situations and
Happen.
circumstances does not support it. So
Mm-hmm.
we are not trying to say or judge anybody. We are simply just looking at the concept of single motherhood.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and not just mother, there are single fatherhood, the fathers
exactly. Even
also.
though we know that the percentage
Ratio, yeah,
is too
exactly.
wide apart.
And that is
Yeah.
why some people will say, okay, if you're a single mother, you still need a man figure, and as well, if you're a single father also. So there is, it's not actually balanced. You
Yeah.
can't say I'm a man, oh, I'll take care of my child, I will do this, I'll give the best. There might be one or two things lacking.
Yeah.
And as a mother also, you might say, oh, I don't
I
even
don't need
care,
any
I
man. I
can
have
do
a
it
good job.
alone.
I do all that.
There might also be one or two things that will be lacking also in the life of that child,
Mm.
because it's not a family. That's not the purpose of God. You understand? So, and that is why I would say it is still God and church that
That's
can make these things, that
happen.
can, yeah, that can rectify these errors and uh,
Okay,
bring
okay. So,
compassion
in
to.
conclusion, I will just add a little bit to what you said. I agree with you that maybe the church has a role to play because it's the church that um, the church is more like a temple of instruction,
It's
a
just like
temple of
it's just like
direction.
an hospital.
Exactly. The church at times, the body will place too much. Why I don't want to put too much is that I think everybody now, in fact, we are shifting all the societal problems to the church. You know, government. I think maybe government needs to do something, but I don't know what government needs to do. That's why I'm not putting this on the government. But I think the family. I think what we tell our kids is very important. You and I were having a discussion sometimes when we watched a very viral wedding, and we're talking about how the mother shielded the children from what we think were the ills of the dad in terms of knowing that the dad was not present,
Present.
and then turning that into a bitter pill that later the children can also become like that, because this is what I know. When a child witness something, there are two things. It's
Mm-hmm.
either the child picks a lesson from it and say that
I'm not gonna
I'm not
repeat
going to do
this.
this,
Yeah,
or it serves as a pattern for them,
and
and then they follow in that same pattern.
and we
Okay.
should trust devil.
So
We
and
always
so
want
so
the
for
person to
me,
follow
I
the
don't I
pattern.
don't I, because I can't trust which path they will take. Okay, so it's best we just give them a good example, a perfect
And
example.
no loopholes for the
Exactly.
devil.
Don't give the devil that gap, that space to work with the child and turn them bad when God didn't create them that way. Okay. So most times the conversations we have in the home, the way we talk about other people, the way we talk about certain things, okay, or the way we respond and react to ourselves can form a standard for a child growing up. And that way, we are going to be saying the society shaped that child, but it is me and you
Yes,
that actually shaped that child.
exactly.
Okay, so for me, I think that's the balance there. The family has the major responsibility. What we say to our kids is different. If you are a single mom out there and you are not at peace with the father of your child, please, I beg you, okay, uh, men are not beasts. Stop saying all those things to your kid. You can think all you're doing is just you're letting out your anger, you're doing all that, I'm was frustrated, I'm doing that, but you don't know what side your kid is going to pick.
Exactly.
Some kids today have decided that they're never going to have a man in their life. Some kids today have said, oh no, I'll just keep throwing away my women because I need them. I need, why? Because of what they've witnessed in the home. So I would say that the bulk of responsibility falls on the family, and in open conversations, like we have said, we would bring out these issues, we'll say it as it is,
Mm-hmm.
and we will ensure that people that needs to hear this, they hear it. So thank you for joining me today, Lola. I hope that the next time we'll still come here together and
Sure.
have very good discussion around issues that we think um, affect us. And today we look at God as a true Father,
Yes.
and we looked at love, love, God's discipline or correction, and His provision, and that is what snowballed into this conversation around absenteeism. All right, so it's a wrap from us today. We're going to see you again some other time when we are opening for open conversations, and It's Segun again and Lola here,
Yeah.
and we wish you a happy Sunday. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers there. Thank you.
See you.
Together